What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do the discussion format that we did in the Best Lightsaber Duelist video because you guys seem to really enjoy it, and the different type of switch up on the channel really seemed to help. And honestly, I enjoyed making it.
Yeah, it's fun.
So I'm here again with my buddy Anthony.
That's me.
And today we're going to make a different sort of video. We're not really going to go through an article and state whether we agree or disagree with it like we did in the last one. We're going to take one character, and again, in a discussion-like format, we're going to hyper-analyze that character's feats. So we're just talking about the power level of said character, not really what we think of him as a character itself.
Yeah.
So that character today is someone whose power level we've been discussing off-record, and then I've discussed tons on the channel before. That's Supreme Leader Snoke.
Yeah.
A character that in The Force Awakens, we were hearing that his power level was comparable to that of Palpatine and that of Vader from like the filmmakers. I believe JJ said that before, that Snoke was really close to like the Emperor Palpatine as far as power level is concerned, and maybe even exceeds that. With that said, the biggest question everybody wants to know is, do we think that Snoke is as powerful as Palpatine? I just want to get it out of the way. We don't know.
Yeah.
We do not know the extent of either of their powers. I would say, as it currently stands right now in Star Wars with the return of Emperor Palpatine, we don't know the extent of his powers. So if we get enough viable feats in The Rise of Skywalker on behalf of Palpatine, I would love to re-explore this and talk about it. So with that out of the way, we don't really know that, but those two characters are probably closest in terms of power level. I do think that Snoke, as far as his pure control over the Force itself, is better than someone like Vader. It may be comparable to Yoda, but let's go ahead and go over a few of the feats that we see Snoke do. Namely in The Last Jedi, but he also has a few feats in The Force Awakens as well.
Yes.
Basically, Snoke has been seen to take the ability that Kylo Ren has, which is like the Force Freeze ability, and take it to its nth degree where he can actually ragdoll beings that are exceptionally powerful in the Force as well.
Like Kylo Ren.
Like Kylo Ren and Rey. Whereas when Kylo Ren can just freeze any subject, freeze blaster fire, Snoke can completely levitate them, stop them right in their tracks, and even beyond that, cause them immense pain. Which we're not really sure if Kylo Ren can cause a subject pain before. We see Rey kind of sweat when she's paused by Kylo Ren, but nothing like the pain that she experienced when Snoke ragdoll her. We also see Rey in his tug-of-war with the Skywalker Legacy lightsaber in The Last Jedi. And Snoke just overpowers her so easily with just the slightest movement of his finger. It's clear that he's superior that way. And it's important to note that when we compare him to a character like Rey, that's really important. Because it's described canonically that Kylo Ren and Rey are equals. One in the dark, one in the light. The light side of the Force has risen up and chosen
to match the dark.
The dark within Kylo Ren. So they chose the avatar of Rey, which means that roughly Snoke he's more powerful, as we can tell if you use the logic, than a Skywalker as far as raw Force ability is concerned. We don't know how old Snoke is. We know he's an exceptionally old entity. And as we've seen in Star Wars before, sometimes it doesn't always matter how good you are with your natural affinity in the Force. Sometimes it also matters a great deal how much you know and what you've learned. That's why someone like Yoda would be more powerful than someone like Anakin Skywalker. So probably, most likely, I would say, because of his bloodline, Kylo Ren, if he had the experience and powers of Snoke, could grow to be more powerful than him. But as we can see in The Last Jedi, Snoke is just clearly more powerful than both Rey and Kylo Ren.
And I think there's also something to be said about his physical disfigurement and like what that kind of tells you about exactly how powerful he can be. Because he's got a lot of like head trauma stuff going on. It looks like he literally took a lightsaber to like his whole skull. So for somebody to be able to survive something like that, you'd have to be incredibly powerful. We watch people die in Star Wars all the time from, very minor wounds compared to what Snoke must have experienced. Like, say, like Qui-Gon, he just gets stabbed in like the abdomen and totally just dies. It looks like Snoke took a hit, but
to respond to that a little bit, I would say that it's more like a dark side ability to like keep yourself in the physical world.
Yeah.
We saw it with obviously most famously Darth Vader burning on Mustafar. It's like when you hold on to the dark side, like grasp it so firmly, it will keep you there.
Yeah.
And that's also kind of why Palpatine a little bit, like his body is like nothing. In canon, in a few of the books, it's described that like Emperor Palpatine attempts at one point to run without his use of the Force, and he's astounded that he's capable of it.
Wow.
So, and then we see it again with Darth Maul. These are characters that have used their hatred to stay around, to survive these life-threatening injuries. So, absolutely, yes. It's also very impressive. One of the most impressive feats on Snoke's behalf, I think, is not anything combative. It's when he links Kylo Ren and Rey together. I think that that's really, really, really impressive that he's able to like forge the Force bond.
Yeah.
Something that we've only seen, to my knowledge, one other time in Star Wars, and that's actually in Rebels between Darth Maul and Ezra. They actually form a Force bond. But I think that that's really, really impressive that Snoke was able to merge the minds together. And then as far as other feats we have, it also in The Last Jedi, he completely throws Hux against the ground and like moves him around from across the galaxy.
Yeah.
When he's in the Supremacy and Hux is in another ship, he just ragdolls him again. I would honestly say that's one of his more like not super impressive feats, because we saw Darth Vader force choke somebody from like a great distance away. So it's still really impressive, but it's not something that we've never seen done before.
Yeah.
As far as in The Force Awakens, there's a theory in the novelization. It talks about Rey kind of subconsciously hears a voice prompting her to kill Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Now there's two theories. One group suggests that is Snoke saying, "Kill Kylo Ren, strike down the apprentice, and like become the new apprentice. I'll seek you out, and you will have turned to the dark side."
As the way of the Sith always goes.
Yeah. And then the other theory is that that's the dark side itself talking to Rey in that moment.
Yeah. Not like a specific person, but just literally like the dark side of the Force trying to propel its, weird spiritual evil purpose.
Right, exactly. So as far as what I would say, we can clearly tell that Snoke is not quite on the level of what I have described before as a Force entity. That being creatures like the Bendu in Star Wars Rebels, where Thrawn physically kills the Bendu, but he doesn't actually kill him completely in Star Wars Rebels. And we don't know the extent of the Bendu's abilities, but also with Force entities, that's creatures and beings like the ones from Mortis. You're probably not super familiar with that, but it's like these beings that represent the pillars of the Force. It's like the Father that represents the balance of the Force, and then it's his job to keep the Son, which represents the dark side of the Force, and the daughter, which represents the light side of the Force, in balance with one another.
Yeah.
And we've seen before in Star Wars The Clone Wars, those characters are unaffected by weapons like lightsabers. They just completely can turn them off. There's only one weapon in Star Wars The Clone Wars that can kill what they call the Ones.
Yeah.
So I want to make it clear that I think that the Ones are definitely more powerful than Snoke, because Snoke was killed by a weapon like a lightsaber.
Yeah.
So we know that he can be killed physically by not a weapon that's like imbued with great power or anything. That's not to say that like his pure Force abilities alone aren't more powerful than that of the Ones.
Yeah.
But we honestly just don't know the capability of the Ones. Because also in the Mortis arc, we saw Anakin Skywalker was capable of holding at bay both the daughter and the son at the same time. So Snoke may be comparable as far as raw power is concerned, as far as the Force goes, to those entities known as the Ones. But again, the Ones can need to be killed by a specific object, whereas Snoke can be killed by what seems to be anything, or a lightsaber, and also a lot of damage done to him. So I don't know if you want to put them on the same level power-wise. Clearly, the Ones, again, is what I and many others refer to as entities, and Snoke is not an entity.
Yeah.
Despite what many of us theorized originally. There's also another group of entities in the Star Wars universe that I believe exceed the power of Snoke, and that is the priestesses, or the Force priestesses. Again, beings that show up in the Clone Wars. Yoda actually learns from those beings how to become a Force ghost and how to transcend the physical plane after death.
Qui-Gon does too, right?
Qui-Gon does as well, yes. It's actually Qui-Gon Jinn that learns it first, but he's unable to complete his training. And that's why he comes back as like a disembodied voice and not as like a blue Force ghost like Yoda does.
Yeah.
But that's correct. And the Force priestesses show Yoda visions and they teach him a lot. But it's pretty much universally agreed that those are the most powerful entities in all of Star Wars, which I would love to make a video and a discussion just around them. But just as Snoke goes, exceptionally powerful. He's 1 or 2 raw power-wise, I believe. Keep in mind, there's not a whole lot of feats of Snoke, whereas a character like Darth Vader has endless feats. Darth Vader, Mace Windu, Yoda, these are all characters that we've seen multiple times do multiple things.
Snoke we just know very little about. And
Right.
Like, you could tell it's obvious that he is incredibly powerful. I mean, you would have to be in order to just find a way to command the entire First Order. Like, you don't do that just, like, casually. But we just know so little about him. And it was clearly, like, the intention to make him a more interesting character that had a lot more going on, but it just never kind of happened.
Right.
Yet.
Or have a Skywalker as an apprentice at all. You have to be exceptionally powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the point is, Snoke is really powerful. He's tough to pin down. We don't know where he is combatively at all. We don't know if he has any great combative skill as far as, like, if he ever used a lightsaber or a melee weapon like that. I assume that he would in his youth, just kind of like that's the way Star Wars goes.
Yeah.
Even characters like Darth Sidious, when they're younger and less skilled in the Force, use like a lightsaber, or maybe it wasn't a lightsaber, maybe it was something else.
Yeah.
But the point is, we don't know where he is there. But as far as his knowledge of the Force and his command of the Force, it's exceptional. He's 1 or 2. And again, the big question here is still Palpatine. What is his power level like in The Rise of Skywalker? Was he involved at all with Snoke? Could Snoke have just been like a total puppet for him? We don't know. But taking Snoke right now as he is, again, I think 1 or 2. Well, guys, that pretty much sums it all up for this Snoke video on how powerful he is. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts, though. How powerful do you guys think Snoke is? Again, this is not a video analyzing Snoke as a character, because I obviously think a character like Darth Vader or Darth Maul way more interesting than Snoke is.
Absolutely.
But again, this video is just talking about his pure power level.
Yeah.
And again, the only way to really compare that, and the only people he really goes up against, is Rey and Kylo Ren, which is on their own very powerful characters.
Yeah.
So again, what are your guys' thoughts on it? And if you enjoyed this type of discussion video, a like would really be appreciated, because that indicates that you want to see more. You guys enjoyed the last one, and hopefully you do this one as well. We're also going to be covering different characters. I want to cover, of course, the popular ones like Vader, and then later on characters more obscure like Pong Krell and the Force Priestesses, stuff like that. So if you enjoyed, leave a like, and also feel free to suggest characters you want to see explored in the comments down below. Anyway, my friends, may the Force be with you guys, and have a great day.